How's it going, guys? So, I started the Phantasm series today, which is one of the only things I still have on physical media. Fucking all five of them, lovely. It was like cheap as shit from Walmart like years ago. So, but I have the whole series. So, I watched the first one earlier. I will have a regular video up on that later. And then I thought I've been trying out this little watch me watch discussion video format thingy where I kind of just exclude the step of taking notes. I just watch and then fucking pause it and then make a comment and talk and shit. So I figure do a fun franchise. So then I thought of this little guy here and how evil he can fucking be this way. Puppet Master from 1989, directed by David Schmoller, which is the same guy 10 years prior to that who directed Tourist Trap, which is one of my favorite slashers from the 70s, 79. So it counts as a 70s slasher. But absolutely love Tourist Trap. And this is nowhere near Tourist Trap for me. But coming from someone who's not a huge Puppet Master fan, like I like this first movie. I like maybe the next two. I don't think I've even seen past like the fourth or fifth film. And there's like 16. So, first of all, if you think I'm covering all 16 of these movies anytime soon, you're out of your fucking minds. Like, there's not a chance that's happening. So, excuse me. First five of them are on HBO Max right now. So, that's the plan for right now. Is I'm gonna watch and cover the first five Puppet Master films. So that'll be the fun part versus the crazy, surreal, dreamlike, nightmarish phantasm run along series as I cover that one. So let's watch Puppet Master from 1989. First thing I have to mention, like 2 seconds in, is Richard Band's score for this is his best compositions, like by far. The theme song to Puppet Master is perfect for the film. Like the just the way that it sounds, just the composition itself, just how it sounds so perfect for a movie about puppets that are alive. I think it's like I said, I think it's Richard Band's absolute best score for any full moon picture, like for sure. I think it's very iconic too. Even people who aren't big into Wishmaster, Puppet Master. That's probably going to happen a decent amount now because I was doing the Wishmaster videos. So Wishmaster and Puppet Master, that shit's going to crisscross like crazy. But his score is absolutely phenomenal for this, and it just fits the movie so perfectly. It's just like one of those few scores that just, even if it's not like fantastic, it just fits the tone of the movie so perfectly. So I mean, bravo to Band and for Charles Band, and I forget the other guy he created this whole franchise with, but both Band brothers, awesome stuff so far. I've always liked the way that the puppets, like their point of view in these movies. Like, yeah, I mean, it looks like they just took like a camera and strapped it to the head of a cat and had it just like walk around and shit. But it's effective. Like it works really well. Just like with the added sound effects of like the little foot stomps and stuff of the puppets as they're walking, like when Blade's walking through the parking lot and into the building. It works. Like it's cheap as all hell, but it does work. It's cool. I enjoy that. Sorry to be a nitpickety asshole already at this point, but no one in this hotel looks down, like at all. Like, not a single person looks down on the floor at any given moment here to see, like, they're not like tiny, tiny fucking puppets. Like, they're decent sized. Even if it was a little action figure running on the ground, I would pick up on that real fast. Like, be like, that's not fucking supposed to happen. So like nobody notices this puppet Blade running all the way around and then like hanging out by some guy's shoe and like hiding. Like no one sees him. No, like complete bullshit. Absolutely. And this is why I chose this franchise because this whole whatever half of this franchise I do is going to be absolutely hilarious because these movies are ridiculous. But Blade's design, I love his design. I have always loved his design. He looks so cool. Just his face with the fucking hat and the fucking black jacket and then the hook for the hand and the knife on the other hand. He's such a cool fucking puppet. Like he really is. Like design is awesome on him. And being in a fucking elevator, just two people and a puppet, and neither of them see the puppet on the ground. Come on, man. That's so stupid. I just realized I really like elevators that have the arrow that points at the floor, and then, like, as it's coming down, it goes like that. I like staring at that. I don't know. Just figured I'd let you know that. So we have Andrew Toulon, who's this old puppeteer, and he's in this hotel. And the puppets, I always loved about the Puppet Masters films, the ones at least that I've seen, the first few, is that the behavior of the puppets always changes depending on like who their owner is at the time, like who they're around. So like when they're around Toulon, like they're friendly, but then when they're around, I forget the guy's name, the antagonist in this movie a little later, then they're murdering bastards. And like I always thought that was very interesting. Like differentiates it from like Chucky and like other killer doll or puppet movies. That like they kind of it depends who they're around and like who they're like anchored to, I guess. Like at whatever moment in time determines like how they behave. So we have him, Andrew Toulon, in this hotel room. We have these two guys that are coming to kill him, and he ends up hiding them in a cool ass hiding spot too, like some type of shit that I would have thought of back in like my teenage years. Like when I used to remember, like people used to like hollow out the middle of your book so you can like put your fucking cigarettes or like wacky tobacco in there. Like if that was your thing back then, it's like that type of cool hiding spot. Like this guy just pulls like a fucking board off the wall that matches exactly the design and puts the trunk of all the puppets and stuff in there and then just puts the board back on and it looks just like the wall. Like awesome little hiding spot. And then right before the two guys kick the door down, Toulon ends up blowing his brains out. And then I forget when this is set. I must have missed it right at the beginning because I was so happy to hear the theme music playing. I love it so much. It's so fucking good. The theme for this. If I wish I would have remembered this movie and the theme song from it and this like the score for it when me and Al did our top 10 scores in horror of all time. Because this wouldn't have made the top 10 list, but it would have been an honorable mention, like for sure. But yeah, he blows his brains out, and then I'm pretty sure it's like in the 50s. Pretty sure. They'll probably mention it maybe again, but I'm pretty sure it's like late 40s or in the 50s because I know like the third movie is like a prequel, and then there's another prequel, and then like this whole franchise is completely all over the place, which is why I never really continued with it because it's just completely insane. It just a prequel. It goes back in time, forward in time, back again, forward. Like it's just all over the place. But yeah, so now we have this group of psychics and mediums that are going to go to the hotel to meet up with a fellow psychic or whatever guy that just passed away who lives at the hotel. That whole scene with the older psychic woman giving the reading to the couple is absolutely hysterical. That she says like that her grandfather or grandmother, I think it was grandfather, is gonna die, and she's like, "It's my grandfather's already dead," and she's like, says to the husband, she's like, then it's your grandfather. And then the wife's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And like, so funny. I love that. And I love that actress too. I forget other things that she's in, but I've seen her in a few things, and I've always loved her performance in this movie. I forget her name in this. I'll find out in a sec. But hilarious. And then she has like the vision and stuff. It says Gallagher, and she has like the vision of the hotel and Blade chasing down somebody. Cool. So much fun. Dana, her name is. And that was Barbara Crampton, the wife that was getting the reading. I always forget that she's in this, in that small little scene. Love her and everything. I was just talking about her earlier in You're Next when I did that video. And then they end up going to the Bodega Bay Inn on the California coast, and that's the hotel from the beginning, which was 1939. Actually, I looked that up because that was bothering me. And so 1939 is when Toulon blew his brains out, and then now this is present day. So I love when movies do that too, by the way, when they do present day instead of like the year that it is, instead of saying like 1989, it dates the film just a little bit. I much prefer when they put present day. That way you can just, every time you watch it, okay, present day, it's today. Even if the technology doesn't line up and stuff like that, whatever. But like, I much prefer that than putting a year on it. And I don't know, for me it dates it a little bit. But good job with them on this. But we have like the group of psychics and stuff that are all meeting up here at the Bodega Bay Inn because Neil Gallagher supposedly found the puppet master's hiding spot, which has a Egyptian spell that brings inanimate objects to life. So that's where we're at. All right, the maid. I want to punch her right in the throat. She has the most annoying fucking voice. Oh, it's so annoying. And just her whole personality, everything about her. I just want to punch her in the voice box and just like deepen that voice a little bit because it is cringy. Listen to this bitch talk. Like, absolutely. It's really starting to get cringeworthy hearing her talk. Okay, I do love Dana's character. I really do. But the whole thing with her carrying around the stuffed dog is so fucking weird, man. Like, we've seen this in some movies before. Like, someone carrying around a stuffed animal and stuff like that. Not like a stuffed animal that, like, you know what the fuck I mean. An animal who's actually stuffed. But it's so weird. Like, I don't care what type of fucking voodoo she's into or like whatever her psychic business entails or anything like that. I don't see what a stuffed dog has to do with anything that she might do there, like at her little business. But it's fucking strange. Like 100% for sure. The little vision scene though that Alex has of like Neil, we find out later it's Neil, but he's wearing like the white mask and he's dancing with Megan, and they're like dancing around the white room. It's all white, and he's wearing like the black tux and the white mask and stuff. There's some cool shots in there. Like, that's a cool looking scene, that whole little vision that he has. All right, so the blonde psychic or medium, whatever the hell she is, that's there with her husband. They're on the elevator with the maid, who I'm gonna kill this bitch like real soon, but. She's on the elevator, the three of them, and she starts having the vision of the rape that took place in the elevator. And she's like, someone forced someone to have sex in here and stuff, and she's moaning and everything like that. So she can like see and feel her visions, right? And this is gonna sound terrible, but I mean, fucking everything I say is controversial on this channel. Fucking everyone's so sensitive today. Can she feel it? Like, can she have an orgasm from her visions? Like, even if it's like a consensual vision and she just like, oh, two people had sex in here. Like, could she come? Like, just from the visions? You know me by now. These are the things that I think of, like, watching films. Can she? It seems like she could, because she's, like, getting all physically, like, heated and stuff, like, in the moment, like, having that vision. And it's heavily implied that she could feel what the people of the vision that she's having feel. So can she come from the visions? I don't know. Tune in next week on Puppet Master 2. And then her saying Clark Gable and Carol Lombard had sex on the bed that they're staying in. That's hilarious. And the stop motion is pretty damn good. Like it still holds up today. Like it doesn't look like totally cheesy, like completely out of place, like with just with Pinhead, the big one with this tiny head, this big strong guy, with him moving around, looks good. Like can't fault how it looks. Like especially for 1989, like stop motion from back then, it looks really good. I love Dana's whole performance at the dinner scene when Megan is talking about how her and Neil got married, and then Dana starts talking about how an evil man he was and screwed all of them, and that they're gonna get their revenge. And her whole performance there, like out of all the actors and actresses in this movie, especially for a full moon picture, like an early one of the first. Was this the first full moon picture? Now I gotta look that up because that's gonna bother me. But one of the firsts, if not the first. But like I don't like she has such a good performance in this. And like compared to the rest of them, she's by far the best actress in this movie. Like by far gives the best performance. And I love that whole scene. Like with her all her dialogue is awesome in that. One of the puppets killed the fucking annoying maid. I'm so happy. I remember she was the first one to die. Thank Christ I couldn't listen to that fucking voice anymore. Neil's corpse sitting up, like when they come back, like fucking Night of the Living Dummy, the Goosebump book. Like I grew up on those. Like besides Halloween, the movie, starting me on horror, like film wise, Goosebumps, like was hugely popular when I was a kid, like growing up around that age, 5, 6, 7. And I used to have the whole original series, like all 52 or whatever it was books, and just him sitting in the chair, like he looks just like the cover of the first Night of the Living Dummy. Had to throw that in there. The blonde psychic who can like feel the history of things. She's in the tub and she's like rubbing herself and like getting turned on, saying that like whatever couple like before them they spent their entire life in that tub. No, they didn't. They had to get out of the tub at some point. Like, had to. The fact the husband tapes on his tape recorder that they're about to have sex session 517A is hilarious. Then the shot with Tunneler when he kills the blonde. I love the way it's shot, actually. Like, just like with him under the bed and then running at her, and then you don't see the drill going into her head, but it, like, you know what happens. And the way that it's shot after that, of just her bloody hand coming up and like grabbing the white sheet and then like slowly like losing grip and like coming back down, and you see her bloody handprint on the bed on the sheet. I really like that. Like it looks really cool actually. And then the whole thing with the leech woman, with leech girl, whatever her name is. I've never been into like BDSM or like being tied up during sex and shit like this fucking guy. If that's your thing, that's your thing. Like I've just never been into that whole thing. So he's tied up in the bed here. He doesn't know that his wife was just drilled by Tunneler under the bed, and Leech Woman starts spitting out her leeches onto his chest and stuff like that, and it takes way too long for this motherfucker to realize that this is not his wife, and that these are slimy fucking moving things that are on his chest right now. Like, come on, man. Like, really? Like, this guy is still like, oh, ooh, and stuff. Like, he's got fucking he's got fucking leeches crawling around his chest. Come on. This guy has the worst situational awareness ever. Like, 1,000 fucking percent. Are you? But then he does open his eyes. He gets the blindfold off, and he sees Leech Woman. And again, it looks really cool how it's shot. Like, just with the way they control the puppet and having the leeches come out and just a little bit of blood there. Like, it really adds to, like, the leeches biting him. And then him just, like, the shot on his eye, like, when it pans, like, zoom in shot on his eye, and like he screams and stuff. And it's shot really decently well. Like for especially for like I'll say a few times in this for a full moon picture and an early one. So props. Like I really enjoy that scene. Always that's like kind of my favorite scene in the movie. Like pretty much like 100%. And god damn, I really love those elevators. This elevator here, how it just moves with the arrow. I don't know. I gotta say it again. I fucking love it. And I don't advocate punching women, but watching Pinhead, the strong puppet, punching Dana in the face repeatedly is fucking hilarious. And then my cool little motherfucker Blade. He's my favorite. He's so cool. That and what is it, Mephisto? Is that the one from like a few movies from now? I love those two. But Blade is the best. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love Blade? When he cuts Dana's throat and kills her. The effects for both the puppets and for the kills in this, I mean, they're not gory at all or anything, but a lot better than I remember. Like, absolutely, definitely a lot better than I remember. Like, I remember it being a lot cheaper looking. I mean, don't get me wrong, the movie looks very cheap. Just the way that it looks. Like, the cinematography, the editing at certain points, like, the sound design isn't great, except for the score. Like, the score sounds really good, but, like, some dialogue sounds off. There sounds like there might be some ADR. Like, I'm not 100%. It sounded like it, though. But, like, so it looks cheap and feels cheap, the movie. But the effects on both the puppets and the kills are much better than I remembered. Like, 100%. And I'm sure it's just for this movie and the next one. And then it's just going to go downhill. But I don't know. Like I said, I've never seen past like the fifth one tops. So I'll see as I go down the series, like, and see which ones I like better. And probably a big feat that any of them are going to surpass this one. Like, I highly doubt it. Or even surpass the first two. But who knows? Let's see. Again, with the White Room, when like the vision that Alex had earlier, and now like it's a dream, which I'll get to in a second, but it looks cool. It's shot very well. Like we have like there's like some purple lighting and stuff which fits with like her purple dress, or like pretty sure it's a purple dress. Or it's white, but like it looks like purple, like the way that it's lit, and then like the blue lighting coming through the windows, like in the otherwise completely white room, and him with the mask again dancing with the tuxedo. It's very well shot. Like I really like these scenes, like in this room. All right, so the dream. I hate dreams within dreams, but when he wakes up from that dream in the room with the dancing, and he pulls his covers back and sees the other psychic's severed heads in the bed, that looks cool. But there is bullshit ahead, so that's what I meant when I first said I'll get to that. So, like I said, him waking up the second time and seeing the severed heads, cool. The fact that that first dream gets repeated again in reality right after, and we see almost the same exact scenes up until they get to the attic, is fucking bullshit. I hate that in movies. I think that's so fucking lazy. Like, unless it's a movie that, like, the whole movie, like, has to do with, like, time travel and, like, warping back and, like, repeating shit, like a grounded Vindaloop or some shit. Like, different story. But in horror movies that have nothing to do with that, like when they do a whole dream sequence and then the same thing happens in real life afterwards, I can't stand that. Especially with a cheap movie like this, it feels like it's 100% there just to pad the runtime, just to add an extra 5 minutes, adding the same shit and having us watch the same scene just to pad the runtime. That's what it feels like in every cheaply made movie that I see this in, and in a decent amount of non-cheaply made movies too. So that's something that really bothers me, like, a lot. I don't know why, but it's just, like I said, it just feels cheap. It feels like they just didn't have a full script, and they said, fuck it, we're just gonna replay almost. I'm not even sure if it's the same footage. It looks like it's pretty goddamn close, if not exactly the same, up until they get in the hallway before the attic, and Alex starts repeating what she's about to say from his dream before she actually says it. I don't know. It's just a pet peeve of mine. All of their dead bodies propped up at the dinner table, and we see this so much in movies too, but looks really cool. With Tunneler and Jester with the puppets sitting on the table. Really cool shots there. Like, their faces actually look pretty creepy and pretty disturbing. So Neil Gallagher makes his entrance, and he is a dead motherfucker. Like, literally, he's dead. And that he shot himself in the head, and he used the old Puppet Master's spell to bring him back to life. Because he wants to live forever, which I said in some video that heaven, hell never had any appeal to me. Living happily forever doesn't really do much for me either, because after, like, forever is very long. Like, forever is like spend 1,000,000 years wherever, heaven, hell, what have you. Then add on like 100,000,000 years, and you've only been there for like a minute. Like, that's what eternity is. Like, that's what forever implies, unless like space and time doesn't exist there at all and has to not be like a thing at all. But after that long of existing, even if it was in heaven, it was the most amazing place ever, at some point you're just going to be like, please kill me, like, end everything, because I can't take a fucking second of anything anymore. Like, 100%. Like, life's temporary for a reason, folks. It gets fucking boring after a while. And living eternity, yeah, after 1,000,000 years, after 100,000,000 years, you're not going to want out. Every single person would. Then when Neil Gallagher ends up in the elevator with the puppets, and Pinhead, the strong one, ends up like trying to choke him out or kill him, and he ends up just plopping his head out, and just the noise it makes when he goes plop, like, so funny. And then Tunneler fucking starts tunneling into his leg and trying to kill him. Cool stuff. And again, Richard Band's score is just phenomenal throughout this whole movie. It fits it so perfectly. I've always loved the end to this movie, when he ends up, after they're attacking him and Tunneler like hits him in the leg, then when Blade, Gallagher tries escaping through the escape hatch in the elevator, and Blade chops his fingers off and then like pushes them, like the severed fingers, down to the ground of the elevator, and they have all the like yellow shit coming out. I'm guessing like embalming fluid or whatever other chemicals they used on him, like after he died. But like, and then Tunneler drilling into the side of his neck while Pinhead is holding his head in place so he can't move and can't escape. And then Blade taking his hook on his mouth and opening it and holding it open so Leech Girl can like spit the leeches down into his mouth. Awesome. Like, that whole sequence is awesome. And then just how he just turns over dead with the leech sticking out of his mouth. Really, really good ending for this. And now I'm going to say why it makes no sense. Unless Puppet Master fans out there clue me in. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this franchise, so I don't know if it's explained ever. Didn't Gallagher literally just say, like 20 minutes before this ended, that he's dead, but he used the magic of the Puppet Master of Toulon to bring himself back alive forever, and that he wants to live forever? So does that mean that he can't die? Because that's what it kind of implies. And then that means none of this makes sense at all at the end, because how can the puppets kill him if he can't die, if he can live forever? Unless that was him just saying that he brought himself back to life, period, and then him just saying, I want to live forever. And that was his reason for coming back to life, because he doesn't want to die, but he can die. So I'm guessing that I answered my own question then. So I guess that sort of makes sense. So I'm gonna go with that. That's the explanation we're going with. So that's just it. That's the one. So we'll go with that one for the rest of the series unless we find out some new information as we go along. And then Alex leaves, and then Megan picks up the dog, the stuffed dog, and he fucking comes alive, and that's how it ends. Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, why did he come back alive suddenly? Was it just like, like magic? Toulon's magic is in the air, like, like fucking pollen from a flower. It's just in the air, and fucking just the magic can just take out, do whatever the fuck it wants, take over the dog, turn him into a real dog. Like, I don't know. The ending is so weird and stupid for this movie, but overall, it's so much fun. Like, just seeing the puppets moving around and seeing them do their crazy kills and how each puppet has its own personality and everything. It's a real fun watch. It's a great full moon movie. It's one of the best. Like, one of my favorite full moon ones. Like, Castle Freak is my favorite. But, I mean, we got Stuart Gordon directing there. We have fucking Jeffrey Combs, who's a fucking genius to me. And we have Barbara Crampton, who's a fucking goddess. So Castle Freak has always been my favorite full moon picture, but Puppet Master 1 is pretty damn close. Like, pretty much definitely in my top 3. And The Killer Eye and Subspecies. And one more I'll think of later, and that'll be a top 5. But for sure, Subspecies, The Killer Eye, which is just ridiculous, that movie. If anyone hasn't seen The Killer Eye, it's more like the rapey, molesting Killer Eye. Watch it. It's hysterical. But that's Puppet Master, 1989, and probably we'll hop on Puppet Master 2 now. So probably see you guys in a bit after watching that. So wherever you're from, hope you guys are having a good night, good day, wherever you're from. And I say that at the end of every video because I know people live all over the place, and Americans are selfish motherfuckers, and we only think of ourselves. And oh yeah, that's right. Like, other places exist. Not me. I don't forget. I think of every single one of you. You don't all live here in the United States. There's beautiful people all over the planet, and every single one of you are beautiful people. Take care, guys.